back to the Magical Mystery School, and thank you so much for joining us for Astrological Update, August 8th, 2025. And just to let you know, these are kind of, all these videos are kind of focused on people who are kind of getting started with astrology. So you'll hear me repeating things a lot and maybe talking about things that for some of you might seem sort of like, oh, really? I learned that years ago. But anyway, if you are getting started, and I do have a playlist called Astrology for Beginners, and I've actually in the description box for all these videos, I'll have the whole list of all the videos and their names, so that you can kind of pick and choose and see what you might want to brush up on or learn about or things like that. Okay. So we are starting out here on August 8th on the eve of the full moon tomorrow on August 9th at 12:56 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time at 17 degrees Aquarius. So the moon is up here at 17 Aquarius and the sun blasting that light, fully illuminating this moon from 17 degrees Leo. They're always exactly across from one another. Okay, so what is this big trine we're seeing here? Well, this is in effect for this full moon. Mars went into Libra on August 6th, just a couple of days ago, and now Mars is getting ready to run the gauntlet. Remember, every time a planet changes signs, we've got Uranus, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, all right within the first 3 degrees of their respective signs. So Mars is going to boom, 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 all those guys. So today at 11:45 a.m., Mars is going to trine that's this line right here, Uranus, air to air. Okay, Uranus is in Gemini, mutable air, Mars, cardinal air in Libra. And then later that day, or tonight at 7:52 p.m., Mars is going to oppose Saturn, all right here in Aries, fire. Then tomorrow, August 9th at 3:19 p.m., and the full moon's going to happen right before this, Mars will be opposing Neptune. And right now, Mars and Neptune are so close together, it's almost hard to tell them, to separate their energies to a certain degree. And then on August 10th, Sunday at 5:29 a.m. in the morning, Mars will complete this grand trine by trining Pluto. So this grand trine is in effect for several days, I would say from the 6th for maybe even a week or so after that. Now, this grand trine is in air, so air is, all about, mental acuity, being social, talking, intelligent, thinking about the future, making plans, doing research, that kind of thing. And then so if anybody has any of these air signs, and the air signs are Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, I should say mutable air, fixed air, cardinal air, anywhere between 0 and 5, even 10 degrees, you are getting a real boost from this in your energy right now. Now Libra's also a cardinal sign, so remember the qualities square each other. So where else do we see cardinal signs? Remember, it goes cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable. So Capricorn is cardinal, Aries is cardinal, Cancer is cardinal, Libra is cardinal. So all of those signs are being a little bit more difficult energy coming in here from Mars. Here's our tarot key for Mars to keep that in mind. Okay. So, but this is very exciting, this Mars trine Uranus. Expect unexpected things to kind of come in from nowhere. And because it's a trine, it should be pretty, pretty usable and workable instead of, if it's a Mars square Uranus, that might be a little, blow us a little bit too much out of our tower here. Then when Mars opposes Saturn, here we've got, Saturn represents structure. So that's really challenged by this Mars energy. And whenever I see Saturn and Mars together, I think military. But because this is air and fire, I'm hoping that it's more of the war of words and maybe those tariffs and things like that, as opposed to real physical wars like we might see in an earth sign or something like that. Okay, and then on August 8th, oh, and one other thing I want to mention here about all of these transits. Don't forget about Mother Nature, okay, because she can, we've got possible earthquakes, we've got water, we've got floods, we got all sorts of energy going on here. So, so just remember, Mother Nature can always throw her 2 cents in. Okay, then on August 9th, Mars will oppose Neptune, and again, that could be a water event of some kind. We had that tsunami when we had a transit involving Neptune about a week or so ago. So it could be something like that. Just remember, Neptune can also sort of cloud our judgment. But when I see Saturn, Mars, Neptune, I'm thinking, water battles or something like that. And then it hit me submarines, because in that tsunami, one of the harbors where they keep all their nuclear subs and their nuclear fleet or something didn't get destroyed, but it certainly got a little messed up. I saw some pictures of that. So it got some, difficulties just in the physical world with the water. But another interesting thing is that somehow Ukraine, I guess, stole all, or found out all the, got all the information about all of Russia's nuclear subs. I mean, literally, they have the floor plans, how they're laid out, all the equipment information, and all that kind of stuff. So they've even got the names of the crews that are on these submarines. So I thought that was kind of interesting too, seeing this roll into place here. But with Saturn here too, with this energy, no matter what, really try to stay grounded. And now that can be doing yoga. It could even be just going for a walk or laying in the grass in your yard, something like that. Stay grounded. And then on August 10th, to complete the Grand Trine, we've got Mars trine Pluto. Now, this is deep, deep, deep determination. This is, it's a trine, so it's good. So it's going to happen, a little bit more smoothly and that kind of thing. But it's a willingness to fight for your ideas. Because remember, it's Libra, Aquarius, air signs. So just keep that in mind too. Now, something that I didn't mention last week that I want to add this week is that, yes, we have this beautiful trine here, but when we've got one of the points of a grand trine opposition to any planet, we get a configuration called a kite. Okay, let's see if I can do this without hurting too many. Whoa! That thing literally just stuck to my gloves. Let's see if I can get it to let go. Okay. All right, there's one sextile. And here's the other one. Okay, so I hope you can see that. When I fill in these lines, the sextile here between the Saturn-Neptune conjunction and Pluto, and then the sextile down to Uranus, we have what's called a kite. Can you see that? Okay. And what's really cool about a kite, it's of course made up of a grand trine with this, and some people call this a mini-grand trine because it's because we have the 2 sextiles there. So what makes it even more powerful than the grand trine is because of this opposition. Okay, so we've got Mars opposition to Saturn, and Neptune. And what that's giving us is a boost to get some energy, to get something done. Because I'm sure you guys have heard me say this before. One thing with trines in general, but grand trines for sure, is sometimes we can get a little lackadaisical. We can like, oh, this energy feels so good. I'm gonna worry about, I'm gonna deal with it tomorrow. No, 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 no. You've got this beautiful energy right now. Use it right now. Don't, because this configuration can move out, pretty quickly. So just keep your, just remember that to use this Mars energy opposing this Saturn Neptune as kind of a instigator of energy for this grand trine underneath it all. Okay. Then, okay, in the midst of all this Martian energy going on here, we do have that full moon on August 9th at 17 degrees 0 minutes. That's kind of surprising. So remember, this is, now here's the keys for the sun is, ooh, can you even see that? Maybe that's better. Is the sun key. And full illumination, secrets no more, things like that. And then we also have, oops, picked up the wrong card. We have the High Priestess, which is for the moon. Now, she's kind of keeper of the secrets, okay? And she's, you can see there's the moon with all of its phases on her head. She's got her foot on the moon. She's got the Torah, the book of law and wisdom in her hands, the tree of life behind her. Anyway, I won't go, I get started on this. I also have a playlist called Symbols of the Tarot, where I go through all the symbology in these tarot keys. But anyway, this is another symbol of getting the truth out, secrets becoming revealed by the sun. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I'll put this right up here on top of our judgment card. All right, I think that works with the black thing. That stayed in focus the whole time. Woo! That's been a struggle for me. Okay, so the other thing too about this full moon, where Mars is giving this a little bit of a oomph, and I did talk about this last week also, but I'll just remind you. Just remember that between Mars and the Sun, there's going to be a semi-square. Okay, now I haven't talked a whole lot about that. That's a square is 90 degrees, divided by 2 is 45, and then a sesqui-square is the 90-degree square plus 45 for 135. So we have a semi-square here, and then we have a sesqui-square here. Okay, so it's not on this trine, but it's still, this kind of energy is a little bit more focused than just our regular square energy. And I just made these S's big just to make the words, because especially sesqui-square, it's such a word that like turns into mush in my brain. But anyway, this is going to be another push to focus us, because these energies, to compare them to a square energy, are more focused, more pointed. Another thing too about these two energies, and I can speak from wisdom on this one, the older you get, the more important these seem to be. So kind of interesting. So anyway, just mull that around and see what you think. Okay, let's see. All right, now moving on to August 11th. Now that's when Mercury, that's down here at 4 degrees of Leo, turns around and goes direct. Okay, so it's been retrograde all this time. And as you can see, at 4 degrees, it's basically opposing Pluto. Here's another transit that's saying secrets are coming out. Pluto is a huge secret keeper. So having Mercury here in Leo, dramatic Leo can be, especially Mercury. So we may hear something very salacious and interesting with Pluto there going on. But that just means that we're demanding the truth and the energy can keep going forward. And also, just to let you know, Mercury will be in its shadow until August 25th. Now, if you're curious again about, more details on Mercury retrograde, how does it physically work, what does it mean, go to my lesson 27, I think, on the playlist to find out more about that. Now, another interesting thing with Mercury that's going on here, by August 14th, Mercury is going to sextile Mars, okay, from Leo here. So that's air and fire. That's always the sextile, right? But the interesting thing is, Mercury is also going to sextile Mars again on the 18th. And there's no retrograde involved here. So that's your homework assignment. Study that, look at that, and tell me why, and you can put this in the comments by next week. Why is Mercury sextiling Mars the 14th and it could be the 17th or 18th. It's right around midnight. And right around 4 degrees, and see if you can explain to me why that's happening. Interesting, huh? Okay. Okay, then also on August 11th, besides we got Mercury going direct, August 11th is going to be a day you want to circle on your calendar. The other biggie we've got going on is Uranus is sextiling, or Saturn sextiling Uranus. And just to keep it in mind, the sextile with Neptune with Uranus will happen on August 28th. So a little bit out, but it's, like I said, it's kind of hard to separate these two at this point. So what have we got here? We have got the most stodgy, stuck in the mud, want to follow the rules, want to stay in the 3D world, all that kind of stuff. The authoritarian. I mean, Saturn rules Capricorn, so we've got similar energies going on here. So we've got this energy sextiling, opportunist, good energy, but Uranus, which is the most inventive, erratic, rebellious, brilliant planet that we have going around here, especially in Gemini, my goodness. Children born with Uranus and Gemini, that generation, hold on. We're going to have, I probably won't be old enough to see it, but these kids, they're going to change the AI, internet, computer world. It's going to be crazy. Anyway, okay. So this is a really interesting combo here. But there's another interesting combination between these two. Now, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. You've heard me say that many times. So they have that, both that technology, social change, humanitarianism, all that good stuff. Both of them are very similar, Aquarius and Uranus. But Saturn was the ancient ruler of Aquarius. Uranus is the modern ruler, Saturn's the ancient ruler. Now, it literally took me, I don't know, I can't say literally, it took a long time for me to finally make sense out of this. In my own mind, how could Saturn rule Aquarius? Well, and any time you see Saturn in Aquarius or Uranus aspecting Saturn or something in Capricorn, something like that, you'll get this same energy. And the way I've come to combine those two is that this represents just this weird, quirky, eccentric type energy. I'm sure you've seen experts they bring on the news or something like that. It's usually medicine, legal, science, politics. You know, there's some guy sitting there and he always usually has a bow tie on. And he's a little quirky, you know, kind of like the Mr. Science guy or something like that, but still solid, okay, still grounded, even though they are a little quirky and weird. So that's the way I see these energies coming together. So expect change with a sextile in a good way. Now, this could be, you know, this is kind of like an orderly structure to change. So this could be something like you get an announcement at work that they're going to lay off people over the next 3 months. Of course, that's scary and awful, but at the same time, at least you've got some time to figure it out. For example, like my nephew, he works for the Forest Service, and he didn't get laid off in the Doge group. And I have finally decided that that whole thing was all about Leon trying to destroy the agencies that were investigating his companies. That was it. That's all it was for. Because he certainly didn't save us any money. But anyway, whoops, little distraction there. But anyway, my nephew, but he, as well as everybody else in that department, they're all figuring out plan B. You know, they know that, you know, maybe they'll be in the next wave of layoffs. I mean, it seems like that's the intent, is to make our government. What did the Republicans say they wanted to do years and years ago? They wanted to take our government and make it so small they could drown it in a bathtub. I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, okay. Okay, so just remember that what we're going through right now with all these sextiles and all that good stuff is we're getting a peek at the future. So be on your toes. Be flexible. What's that expression? Keep your head on a swivel right now, because new things could be coming in. And you want to check it out, of course. Give it some thought, that sort of thing. And also the big thing to remember is these transits, these big, long transits are going to go on for a while. So this Saturn sextiling Uranus here is just one step. I mean, they're gonna be sextiling again in the future. But just remember, this is just sort of a beginning. We've got this whole wobble to go through. And like I said, you're more than welcome to take a screenshot of that. So here we're right now in this August period, we've got all these planets in, you know, Aries and Gemini. It's where they're going to be down here in 2026. So just remember, you know, we've got a little backwards and forwards, but this is also a good time to, you know, to make some realistic, you know, to look at things again and to not get yourself in trouble. Let's see. Okay. And the other thing I just wanted to mention too with Uranus and Saturn is the tarot key for Uranus is the Fool, and the tarot key for Saturn is the World. Okay, and for the major arcana, see, I'm trying to keep. I think this might be working okay. All right. This represents Saturn, and this is key 21. Come on, you can do it. Stay in focus. And that's the last key in the major arcana. And of course, the Fool is 0, the first key, and it's the Aries or the Uranus card. Okay. All right. Maybe if I do this. Oh, okay. All right. And here in the World, we're leaving the 3D plane. We're lighter than air. We can dance in the clouds. We're getting ready to head into that next dimension. The Fool key, the first key in the major arcana, we're coming down the hill here. We've been up in that different plane, and we're getting ready to walk off this cliff. And I always think of this as this is jumping off, going down the birth canal, and woo, we're back into the 3D plane here. So I think I think I'm getting better at holding up those keys. I don't know if it's much better anyway. Oops, now I'm upside down and backwards and inside out. That's me in general. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So I did want to just mention those two because that's another kind of interesting relationship. We got the last key and the first key, but in a sextile and a good flowing type relationship. So really see this time as, you're learning something new, okay? And you're ready to make changes, but you need to be patient with Saturn. Remember, if you work hard and you're patient, Saturn will reward you. And welcome changes. See what might feel right to you, as we go forward, especially thinking for the future. And like I said, we'll talk more about Uranus sextiling Neptune next time. Very much an eye-opener. I mean, that's why the hangman's upside down, so you can see everything from a totally different perspective. And just remember, these changes, they could be in your circumstances, in your 3D world. But remember, Uranus is the father of the gods. He's the father of Saturn, Pluto, and Neptune, okay? And we won't go into all his stuff with eating his children and all that kind of stuff, but just remember, your circumstances can change, but your thinking, your consciousness, that's what Uranus is. Uranus and Neptune here can change and grow here during this time, so let it go. Okay, I'm going long here. Okay, August 11th, we've got Mercury's gone direct. Saturn and Uranus sextile, but we got one more biggie I got to talk about here. At 10:30 on August 11th p.m., close to midnight, we are going to have Venus and Jupiter conjunct in Cancer, okay? And this is fabulous. It's right about at 14 degrees Cancer, right in the middle there. And just to kind of, for a little reminder here, the U.S. sun is at 16 degrees Cancer, so very, very close. And also Sirius, the brightest star we can see. That's what Sirius is Greek for bright star. It's actually a binary star, so there's this little dwarf white star going around with it. But having Sirius here, we have spiritual wisdom, illumination, all hooking into this Venus-Jupiter here. And it's also, though, responsible, very loyal, good for fame and fortune. So this should be great. I mean, here we've got the two benefics, the lesser and the greater benefic, Venus and Jupiter. Jupiter's exalted in Cancer. How much more fabulous can you get than that? Well, I'll tell you one way to get even more fabulous. Okay, this conjunction is happening. I mean, you're gonna see these planets up in the sky about an hour before sunrise. Because when we look at this, okay, just like we've got on our wheel, remember this wheel, that's how you get your rising sign. It moves a whole wheel in 24 hours. So it's basically 2 hours in each sign. So so it stays in this order. So we've got Cancer down here with Venus and Jupiter, and we've got Leo with the sun in it, right? And so they're going, every day they go all the way around the chart once. I mean, and so right before, so of course the sun's in Leo, so at sunrise, that's the rising sign, will be Leo. And just before the sun gets to the rising, we're going to have Jupiter and Venus. So if I were you, I would try to get out there like about 5 o'clock in the morning. It's directly due east, okay, and then just a hair to the north. Okay, so see if you can see those. I mean, Venus looks like a freaking spotlight out there. It's just gorgeous. So do try to check that out. Okay. Now the pluses with Venus and Jupiter, we've got abundance, happiness, romance, generosity, honesty, authenticity, all those great things. Can be a little lazy. We've got another little lazy thing going on here. kind of willing to let things slide, and things, don't want to rock the boat too much. So this is a time for you to, though, use your own energy to get you going here. If you've got any kind of difficulties, like with a relationship, that you need to talk to somebody or something like that, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Okay? I would say anytime Mars goes into Libra August 6th, this is happening up through August 11th. I would say that first 15 days of August, really use that to deal with any difficulties you may have, okay? And also, too, with this Venus and Jupiter in Cancer, it could be a little bit more interior, especially if you're dealing with anything on a personal level. It might be just more like you kind of get an upgrade in your consciousness and a little bit more maturity and things like that. So, what do we got here? That should do us for now. Well, we've got our wobble here. Oh my goodness, I have 30 minutes. So anyway, just keep remembering to focus on your feelings as well as your actions. Both of these are going to be super important. Remember, next week you've got your homework. Tell me about this Mercury sextiling Mars. Why does that happen twice? And we've got a new moon on August 22nd at 0 degrees Virgo. Okay, everybody. Bye. See you next time.